Observations from orbit. Captain Zhara of the HFY High Command stood at the observation deck of the Crimson Storm, arms crossed behind her back, the stars reflecting in her onyx-colored armor. Around her, hollow screens flickered with footage from Earth's surface. Urban riots, gym selfies, wrestling matches, political rants, and an alarming number of shirtless human males yelling into cameras. Disgust curled her lips. "So these are the males of Earth?" hissed Lieutenant Trex, shaking her head. "Loud, emotional, unkempt. They resemble our juveniles, untamed and unaware." The room echoed with derisive laughter from the rest of the warrior squad. 12 elite VA carry chosen for their ruthlessness and clarity of thought. On their homeworld, VA car, male offspring were rare and ceremonial, decorated, placid, silent. They had evolved beyond the need for male aggression, leaving war and governance to women forged in the crucible of battle. By all appearances, Earth was behind the times. Uncivilized, disorganized, males leading wars and policies. Commander Celia sneered. "Their species is already doomed." Captain Zhara raised a single-gloved hand, silencing the room. "Yet they've survived countless wars. Nuclear threats, ecological collapse, no galactic allies, no wormhole access, no genetic enhancements," she said, voice flat but sharp. "And still they endure. Because of chaos," Trex countered. "Like vermin, they multiply, adapt, then burn their own nests to rebuild." Zhara stared at one of the monitors. An Earthman flipping a tractor tire while yelling something called "Let's go" to no one. She narrowed her eyes. There is more to strength than appearances. Intelligence, endurance, insanity even. We will learn which one sustains their kind. Her clawed finger hovered over a glowing sector on the holomap. One Earth region labeled in red, Texas. Prep for descent. Small squad only. Observation and specimen interaction. Civilian infiltration only. Trex snorted. "To what end?" "To confirm our assessment before the Dominion Council greenlights assimilation," Zhara replied. "We will infiltrate, analyze, and then return with proof that Earth is just as pathetic as we suspect." The warriors departed, donning sleek infiltration armor woven with adaptive camouflage. Even with form-fitting Terran clothing layered on top, their posture and bearing screamed danger. Zhara alone stood unaffected by gravity's slight tug. Her long, dark braids shimmered with surgical metal woven through the strands, trophies from enemies across 4-star systems. As they entered orbit, the ship's AI voice droned, entering Earth's atmosphere. Civilian time zone, 1900 hours. Local region, Texas Panhandle. The landscape below sprawled in endless waves of dry earth, mesquite brush, and clusters of human settlements. Strange metallic beasts on wheels crawling across cracked roads. Wind turbines turned lazily in the distance. On approach, they saw what resembled a gathering. Lights, voices, music, coming from structure labeled Big Sal's Bar and Grill. Perfect. The ship cloaked and set down in an empty ravine nearby. The VA carry disembarked under cover of dusk. They entered the bar in formation, then quickly broke apart, mimicking what they believed to be casual mingling based on surveillance. Still, they drew stares. Their beauty was unnerving, posture too perfect, eyes too focused. They moved like predators pretending to be prey. And yet, no one confronted them. The bar buzzed with noise and laughter. Televisions blared sports commentary. People drank thick golden liquids, and music boomed about heartbreak and pickup trucks. At the bar stood a man, not particularly large, not heavily armed, but somehow commanding the room. He wore worn jeans, a black shirt, and boots made from something once alive. His presence was relaxed, his back against the bar, his gaze sweeping the room lazily. When a fight broke out at a nearby pool table, he didn't flinch. When a glass shattered behind him, he didn't turn. Zhara watched him with quiet interest. "Unremarkable," whispered Celia beside her. "Just another primitive alpha." Zhara tilted her head. "Then why is no one else moving?" Indeed, as the brawl escalated, every patron unconsciously glanced at him. The moment he stepped forward, the fight paused. His voice, steady and southern smooth, cut through the noise. "Y'all done? Or do I need to call your mothers?" The room chuckled. The fighters backed down. And just like that, peace returned. Zara's eyes narrowed. "Log his behavior," she said softly. "I want to know everything about him." She didn't yet know his name. But Jake Rourke had just become the most interesting specimen Earth had to offer. The man called Rourke. The next evening, Captain Zhara stood beneath the neon glow of Big Sal's bar and grill once again. Her infiltration armor had shifted, reshaping into casual Terran attire. Jeans, boots, and a jacket that concealed her stun pistol. The VA carry warrior squad had dispersed throughout the establishment, observing, listening, blending. But Zhara had come to learn, and the man they now knew as Jake Rourke was still here, seated at the bar, nursing a glass of something called bourbon, while absently flipping a small coin between his fingers. He wore the same relaxed expression from the night before, but now she noticed more. The calluses on his knuckles, the faint scar beneath his jawline, and the way everyone around him gave him just a little more space. She slid onto the stool beside him. "You don't look like you're from around here," Jake said, without looking. "I'm new to this region," Zhara replied, voice calm. She had modified her accent after scanning local speech patterns. Jake glanced sideways at her. "What brings you to a dusty hole like Amarillo, Texas?" Zhara considered several responses, settled on the least suspicious. "Curiosity and observation." Jake chuckled. "Well, sugar, that makes two of us. I've been watching people all my life. Tells you more than talk ever could." She studied him. "What have you learned?" He turned to face her fully. His eyes were a sharp hazel, scanning her the way a seasoned predator sizes up potential threat or interest. "You sit like someone trained to fight, but pretending not to. Your back never touches the chair, and you're scanning the exits." Zhara blinked. Not many beings could read a VA carry that quickly. "And you," she countered, "speak with the tone of someone who leads but doesn't command, who listens before deciding. Rare." He grinned. "Now you're just flattering me." "Am I?" Jake's gaze softened slightly. "Name's Jake Rourke. Former Army. So call me a problem solver. What's yours?" Zhara hesitated. The VA carry had protocols for this. Never use real rank. Never reveal origin. "Z," she said. "Z. Huh. Exotic." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden slam at the bar entrance. A group of local troublemakers, 3 large men in leather vests and patches, stormed in, their boots loud against the tile. The tallest of them, a heavy-set man with a crooked nose, shouted toward the bartender. "Sal, you still owe us for the pool table from last month." Everyone in the bar went silent. Sal, an older man behind the counter, raised his hands. "I paid for the table, Mick. I've got receipts." "Don't care. You pay again, or we start breaking stuff." Jake stood slowly. "You boys really think you're the storm tonight?" Mick turned. "Oh, it's Rourke. Didn't know you were back in town." "Just passing through," Jake replied, stepping forward. "But I still don't like bullies." Mick sneered. "You gonna stop me?" Zhara instinctively stood beside Jake. She didn't know why, but something in her responded. She could end this herself, quickly. Yet Jake gave her a small look, barely a nod, and she knew, wait. Jake didn't strike first. He waited, arms loose at his sides. When Mick lunged, Jake ducked, sidestepped, and elbowed him in the ribs twice. Mick stumbled back, wheezing. Another thug rushed forward. Jake used the man's own weight to throw him over the counter. The last backed off immediately. "Anyone else?" Jake asked, panting only slightly. Zhara raised an eyebrow. That wasn't brute strength. That was practiced calm violence. As the troublemakers limped out, the bar erupted in applause. Zhara sat back down, her curiosity now genuine. "You didn't draw a weapon," she said. "Why?" Jake shrugged. "Didn't need one. Violence is like fire. Use it only when the cold's worse." Zhara found herself smiling, something she hadn't done in months. This human was more than an anomaly. He was dangerous in a way even the VA carry respected. Not because of power, but because of restraint. And she wasn't the only one who noticed. Across the bar, Trex watched with narrowed eyes, whispering into her calm. "Captain, Earth's males may not be weak. Zhara nodded slowly. No, they may be something far more troubling. She looked at Jake, who had already gone back to sipping his drink. Adaptable, the strength they can't measure. Jake Rourke worked like a man who had nothing to prove and everything to give. Over the next few days, the VA Carry Warrior Squad watched him from hidden drones and street corners, documenting behavior they didn't know how to categorize. He didn't seek dominance. He didn't bark orders or posture with aggression. But wherever he walked, across dusty roads, hardware stores, or the volunteer firehouse, people listened. People followed, and he led without trying. Captain Zhara stood on the roof of an abandoned gas station, eyes locked on Jake as he taught a group of teenagers how to sand down storm-damaged wood panels for a neighbor's home. The sun baked the earth below, sweat glistened on his brow, but Jake kept working, patient, kind. "This is not strength," Celia muttered beside her. "Where are his medals? His command? His victories?" "This is strength of a different kind," Zhara replied. "One our empire has forgotten." She thought of her own training, the grueling rites of passage, the endless drills, the duels fought until blood or surrender. The VA Carry measured worth in scars and dominance. But here was a man who fought quietly, for people, not glory. When Jake waved the kids off for lunch and sat alone beneath the porch's partial shade, Zhara descended. No more observing. She needed answers. She approached in full human form, hair tied back, plain jeans, and a work shirt to blend in. Jake saw her coming, but didn't flinch. He simply tilted his head, a quiet smile tugging at the edge of his lips. "Back again, Z?" he asked, handing her a bottle of water. She took it without hesitation. "I've been watching you. I figured. You and your friends aren't subtle." Zhara chuckled. "We didn't try to be." Jake took a sip from his own bottle. "So, you some kind of government agent? Spy? Alien?" Zara's fingers froze around the bottle. He grinned wider. "Kidding. Mostly. You don't act like any local I've met, that's for sure." "I'm a student of cultures," she said, truth dancing dangerously close to the surface. Jake nodded thoughtfully. "Fair enough. What you learned about mine? That it is messy, illogical, and ungoverned." He laughed, a rich sound that echoed under the porch awning. "That's about right." Zhara leaned forward, studying his face. "And yet, you thrive. You smile. You build." Jake's grin faded, just a bit. "Only because we have to. Earth throws everything it can at you. Tornadoes, war, heartbreak, taxes. Why not give up?" Jake looked toward the horizon, where the wind turned up dust in orange spirals. "Because there's always someone else who needs you to keep going." Zhara felt something shift inside her. No bravado, no arrogance, just conviction. "Your people are not what we expected," she admitted. "Your men, your kind, are not what we were told." Jake leaned back against the support beam. "What were you told?" She hesitated. "That you were weak, soft, illogical, distracted by emotion." Jake raised a brow. "And you're starting to see that's not the whole picture." "Yes." He stood slowly, stretching his back with a groan. "I've been in places where everyone looked strong. Soldiers with medals and titles. But you know what scared me?" "What?" "People who weren't trying to scare me." Zara's gaze flicked to his hands. "Rough from work, steady in peace, deadly in defense." "Tell me," she said, "have you killed?" Jake didn't answer immediately. "Yeah, in war. I don't like it. But sometimes you don't get to choose the clean path." "Then why choose kindness now?" He shrugged. "Because after enough blood, you realize peace takes more guts than war." Zara said nothing. She couldn't argue. Not when she agreed. Deeply, from her calm bead, a whisper came, Trex, monitoring from above. "Captain, command wants a full report. They believe your mission is compromised." Zara stepped away from Jake, murmuring into the bead. "Tell them the mission has evolved." She turned back to Jake. "I want to know more. Not just about you. About how your people survived despite yourselves." Jake smiled, warm but cautious. "That's a long story. I have time." He gestured to the porch's steps. "Then sit a while." And so she did. Not as a conqueror, not as a commander, but as a student. And Jake Rourke, the Earthman she had once dismissed, became her teacher, not of weapons or tactics, but of something far rarer. Humanity, the war we didn't start. The order came at dawn. From deep space, the Viekari High Command transmitted a single directive: initiate planetary subjugation protocol. Begin with psychological dismantling of male leadership. Captain Zhara stood still on the ridge above Amarillo, the sun rising behind her, casting long shadows. Her squad, Celia, Trex, and the others, waited silently. Their forms shimmered with activated armor, ready for orbital reinforcements. She hadn't told Jake. Not yet. Zhara still wore her Earth disguise, simple jeans and worn boots. But beneath the surface, her armor hummed with lethal readiness. Her people had always prided themselves on swift dominance. Earth was next. Jake Rourke had been meant to confirm the planet's weakness. Instead, he had challenged everything. Trex approached, helmet under her arm, expression tight. "Captain, you've delayed long enough." The command grows suspicious. The males here show signs of decentralized resistance. Their emotional irrationality is dangerous. Zhara turned slowly. They are not irrational. They are resilient. They build loyalty from laughter, defense from community. Their strength is not centralized. It's personal. Trex scoffed. "Sentiment is not a strategy." "No," Zhara replied. "But perhaps it's the reason they still exist." Below them, Jake's truck rumbled along the dirt path toward the ridge. He'd promised to meet her at sunrise. He never broke a promise. "Stand down," Zhara ordered. "I'll handle this alone." Trex's jaw tightened, but she nodded, retreating into the camouflage netting. Jake parked, stepped out, and adjusted his ball cap. His eyes caught the armored figures behind her, barely visible. He sighed. "So," he said, "you're not from around here after all." Zhara walked toward him, boots crunching dry earth. "No, I'm not." Jake nodded slowly, glancing up at the sky. "Aliens. It was a guess, but now I know. You scouting for invasion?" "Yes." "Are you leading it?" Zhara hesitated, then nodded. "I was sent to evaluate your planet, assess its vulnerabilities." He folded his arms, and she looked directly into his eyes. "And I found something the High Command can't understand." Jake's mouth twitched. "Let me guess. Compassion? Hope? Cowboy grit? Freedom," she said simply. "The kind that survives failure, thrives in imperfection, and endures under pressure." Jake watched her carefully. "So what now?" Zhara stepped closer. "They want war. I want a chance to show them what they're about to destroy." Jake gestured to the horizon. "You'll need more than words." "I know. I need an example." He tilted his head. "You want me to come with you?" She nodded. "As a representative, not of military power, but of what your kind truly is." Jake stared at her, eyes unreadable. "That's a hell of a risk. For both of us." He sighed again, deeply. "If I go, it's not to beg. It's to tell them, Earth won't break easy. That's why I need you." Behind them, Celia's voice snapped through Zara's calm. "Captain, incoming transmission. High Command expects compliance within the hour." Jake looked up. "So what's the plan, Z?" Zhara extended a hand. He didn't hesitate. He took it. The Viekari Command Council was not easily impressed. Their chamber spanned 300 feet in radius, its walls covered in shifting tactical data and star charts. The dozen counselors stood like pillars in obsidian armor, their eyes glowing with neural implants. Jake Rourke walked into that chamber unarmed, dressed in earth boots and denim, the dust of Texas still clinging to his coat. He didn't bow. He didn't flinch. He looked each of them in the eye and said, "You came here thinking we were weak, that our chaos meant failure. But Earth has survived worse than you, because we fight for each other, not for conquest." One counselor sneered. "You value sentiment over strategy." Jake stepped forward. "We value sacrifice, humor, grit, and the choice to keep going when everything says stop." Another asked, "What makes your kind worthy of sovereignty?" Jake turned slightly, catching Zara's gaze. "We're not perfect, but we're free, and that's something no empire has ever kept for long." There was silence, and then Zara, standing beside him in full Viekari regalia, added, "Permission to abort planetary subjugation. Earth is not an enemy to conquer. It is a truth to understand. The chamber buzzed with neural debate. Counselors linked minds, calculating odds, weighing pride. Finally, the central figure spoke. Request granted. Observation status restored. Conflict postponed. Jake exhaled slowly. Zhara turned to him. You just saved your planet. Jake smirked. Nah, Earth saved itself a long time ago. You just finally noticed. And somewhere above Texas, beneath distant stars, the war never started.